Welcome to Interface. Today our session will be enlightened by one of the eminent personalities in the field of psychology, Professor G.P.Thakur, the President of Indian School Psychology Association. Welcome to our program, sir.
Thank you.
Let us begin with your field of interest, school psychology. So may we have in brief what school psychology actually means?
Actually, school psychology is a branch of psychology, applied psychology, where all psychological principles are applied for students for their all round development. That includes the curriculum study, that includes the extracurricular activities, that includes their good mental health, that includes good parenting. So all round development is taken care of, and a school psychologist means a branch of psychology where a psychologist is engaged in dealing with children, the developmental problems of children at the school age, that is the adolescence. This is school psychology.
So what are the basic problems faced by children in the course of development?
Oh, I think developmental problems, because after birth development takes place and in early phases of life, first 5 years of life, this is very important from the developmental point of view, because this is the period where as much love one could give to child, that is required. After that, the socialization process that starts. What are the manners, how one has to behave, what one should do, what one should learn. So, it is the socialization process that takes place in the next phase. And in the adolescent period, that is very important for the developmental angle from 2 or 3 things. Number one is all children, they want to become at that time independent. Before that, they were dependent on their parents, their advice and other things. Then they want to become independent, number one. Second thing is physiological changes both in boys and girls that do take place, and because of the physiological changes, they are sometimes having emotional trauma, and emotional trauma they are not able to manage themselves if it is not properly told to them by any expert, maybe a psychologist, maybe a teacher, maybe the parents themselves. Similarly, there is third factor what is important in the adolescence at the school level is the peer group, and that becomes important, making friendship to others, that becomes important for that. So, these 3 factors make them really vulnerable to many undesirable behaviors which are not accepted in society, and desirable behaviors also that do take place over there. And then again, when developmental process it is over by the end of the adolescence, that is 19 to 20 years around. Of course, there is no watertight division of the age, but around 19 when it is over, then some other problems are. But the seed of any problem which may be coming in the adulthood or middle age or in the old age, the seed is at the nurturing at the lower level, that is the childhood and the adolescent period. So, just to briefly we can say that if well care has been taken in the childhood and then properly they have been trained for to become adolescent, and they have been given proper training in socialization process and all kinds of information, those are there. If it is properly given, then less problems they do have, so far as what we say the adjustment problem in either young age or at any other phase of life.
So is it that the problems that arise in childhood, is it essential that they are carried on to adolescence, or there are some problems that begin and end in childhood?
Yes, yes. If I told you the childhood, that is up to 5 years of age, it is very important, because there are many theories, and Freud says that there is developmental, in the developmental stage from one stage to the other, because of the libido fixation, libido is the symbol of pleasure, that is development, that takes place. So, if it is not properly taken care of, then in that case many developmental problems do come. For example, if any period overstays according to Freud for a longer period, we say fixation. If fixation is done at oral stage, there are literature which say that in adulthood or afterwards some problems relating what we call the psychotic problem, those problems do arise. Similarly, at the anal stage, that is the afterward stage, if fixation is there, then the person of course may be having this trait, what we call the obsessive trait, obsessive compulsive psychoneurosis or obsessive compulsive trait. So, there are three characteristics of the obsessive stage: orderliness, frugality and obstinacy. A person is extraordinarily he will be conscious or she will be conscious about the orderliness of a thing. Then frugal, okay, of course, and the third thing is obstinacy, obstinate behavior, that will be there. Although these are all personality traits, and such personality traits are always with every individual, but when the degree is high, then it becomes a problem, because it causes adjustmental problem. Therefore, as you have asked, if childhood is better care is taken, then there is a possibility of less problem in another stages of life.
So, does parenting play a role in it?
Oh, parenting is really very much play a role. The irony is, every parent wants his or her children the extremely good one, and from the core of the heart really they mean it, and they do service to their children in the best of their capacity. Still, because of the lack of knowledge of the parenting, how they can do it, where the rewards should be given, where punishment should be given, how rewards should be given, to what extent rewards should be given, what type of punishment should be given, in what form punishment should be given. If they do not know, then mishandling is there. There may be many cases what we get for clarification and other things, how to handle it. For example, I tell you, if any habit or any behavior in the child, you want that it is desirable behavior and it should remain in the child, what we call in our term, it should stamped in, then that habit has to be positively reinforced. That may be verbal appreciation, that may be with some gift or anything else. Then again the child wants to do or repeat that behavior, and this way after repetition that behavior stems into the individual. And about punishment, severity, whenever you want that some behavior should not be there, which habit is formed, then you want to eradicate that habit, their negative reinforcement is required, means punishment. But in punishment one thing should be there, certainty of punishment should be there, it is not the severity of punishment. If something is wrong, father says wrong, mother says wrong, another person in society they say wrong, teachers say wrong, friends say wrong, then it will go away. But if anybody says wrong and somebody says right, then conflict starts, and in the state of conflict it does not work. So, it is not that the physical punishment should be given always. If you ask the child, no, this is not good, everybody says not good. So, the degree is required, not the the kind of punishment for that purpose. And in parenting always we incur many kinds of mistake for that purpose. Many people these days do come and they say, sir, we have done best for our children, but they have developed this habit, this habit, this habit, including drug addiction or anything else. Then we want to go back, what is that problem? Then we wanted to know that in the childhood, normally parents understand that a small child 3 years old, 4 years old, they do not understand what is that problem. Okay? If they are quarreling, they are fighting, they understand that the child will not have impact, but it has the traumatic experience of the child for that purpose. Therefore, I say two things. Number one, you love your child as much as you can in the childhood. When become adolescents, you become the friend of the child, so that he or she need not be fearful in telling anything, especially son to father and daughter to mother. And one second point, we say that you never quarrel with your wife in presence of child. If you want to fight, it's okay, because it may be natural at some places, but when child is not there, then you are free, you can have verbal duet or anything else, but in presence of the child you don't do it, because it has very bad impact. There are many studies in psychology where child understands that the marital life of my parents are not okay, not happy, then their marital life does not become happy. There are many studies in Indian condition and other places also. What happens, the father or the mother becomes the role model, okay, and they try to behave, they try to act the way exactly they are behaving or they are acting. So, the relationship between the father and mother for children become important for their own growth. That is why parenting is important, and that care should be taken at that stage.
So, since parenting plays such an important role, how can we make the parents aware of these effective parenting styles?
Very good question. Actually, in education department or school psychologists, as you say, the branch, they call parents and they teach them what to do it. There can be many ways of just teaching it or just making them aware. By the expert counselors, whenever some problem is there, if they are approaching the counselor, then they can locate the problem and they can ask the parents to behave this way or that way. Second thing can be that regularly a school psychologist can ask the parents to come and meet them, and they can just discuss, interact with them, and if any problem is there, they can give the suggestion what is to be done, what is not to be done. In this area, efforts are being made at the community level also, some lectures, some seminars. So, public awareness and community awareness is essential. Unfortunately, there is one thing in our country, of course, we are fully aware that if this type of problem is there, we always go to psychiatrist. They have their own role to play. Okay, psychiatrists, they deal with the psychological medicines, and in case of any problem, major problem, they do this work. They are although trained in the counseling and other things also, but it better if they go to a psychologist. But in India, this awareness is not there, particularly in rural areas and smaller towns. Although in metro cities it is there, it was not earlier, say 10-15 years ago, but now they are conscious that in case of any problem, the parents do go to counselors, to clinical psychologists first, because they try to see the cause of the problem. It is not a symptomatic relief, it is a causative relief. Therefore, if they go to a psychologist, then the problem is over for longer period. Second thing is, in India there is a conception, psychologists do not administer any medicine, they are not authorized, they do not know it. But advanced scientific technique like psychoanalytic theory, behavioristic therapy, cognitive restructuring, many other techniques are there. Through that technique, the problem, after locating the problem, solutions or the interventions are provided. Normally guardians understand, okay, when I came to him, he talked to me for half an hour and said like this. So, they do not give the value to it, but they do not understand the solution of such type of problems is again there in the suggestion provided to the individual for that purpose.
So, how and when can a parent know that the child is having some problem? Are there some behavioral symptoms?
Yes, through behavioral symptoms they can know. Usually if a child is early riser and always rises late, say 1 hour, 2 hour, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, then the parents have to take care. Why? What is the cause? What is the problem they are having? In case of drug addiction, normally it's very common at many places, and there are some unscrupulous people, they just provide the drugs and other things. For parents, they can find it out if the child is devoting more time in the latrine, bathroom, okay, toilet, then the parents should be cautious about it, okay. And then after coming out from the toilet, they should go and search it out, some match stick, or something kept somewhere. Normally they keep it, my experience, many parents, or we have already seen, they somewhere put it in the hidden place, okay. So if more time, this is the behavioral change over there. And not only that, becoming angry, of course there may be some other reasons also. So whenever this type of behavioral problem is there in the child, okay, in that case, if they are capable of understanding what could be the cause and how it can be corrected, it's okay, fine. If there is some confusion that how it is to be dealt with, then they should go to the expert, the psychologist, clinical psychologist, or the counselors, trained, the people. Many people say, but I think those who are trained properly, they should go to them and then state the problem, and it is his duty to find out what is the cause and how it can be taken care of, and those are given.
So now moving on from childhood to adolescence, can you throw some light on the basic problem of adolescence stage?
Adolescent, I told you, because this is the stage where physiological change, because psychological change, because many ideas, study pressure, then again independent ideas, these days the gadgets, new gadgets, movies, internet, Facebook, there are many things over there. Then again the social situation where they have to behave what, they are not coming out of the room, they are not meeting father and mother, they don't try to eat on the same dining table, they say no, I am just looking at the serial, I am sorry, I cannot come, okay. Some problems are over there. So what is required is that proper training should be provided to adolescents for that purpose. Because of the physiological change, girls, they do have, we can say, traumatic experience in the beginning. Boys also they may have. Another point is, this is the stage where the attraction towards opposite sex that takes place. This is natural, but this attraction, how it has to be managed, how it has to be handled, this is very important, and that needs proper care by the parents. If parents are well educated, they can understand the problem, they can tell the consequences of any deviation or any bad behavior in that case. Because this period of adolescence up to 19 or something, class 12th, okay, is very crucial stage. This is the foundation stage. After that, specialization starts. So if this concept is there given in the mind, seeing that the boy or the girl is not becoming introvert, because high morality is given, then again the problem starts. Because always remember, we all have all the traits, but in the major degree. It need not be either on plus side or minus side, higher one, that you have to take care. So if this way, that care and this care can be taken by the school, properly trained people, school psychologist or any psychologist, clinical psychologist over there, parents, they can take care of it, and then the proper development will take place. Okay. So at one time, what will happen, they will have the affiliation to the family, at the same time they will have independence over there. Rigidity by parents not required, they should treat like friend, they should listen to them, give the proper advice acceptable to them, not like the childhood, you do it, you don't do it, okay, not that type of advice should be given. So, that much care is needed in the adolescent, then the proper development will take place. If that is taken care of, you will find many children, they become just, they develop hatred towards their parents because of their inconsistent behavior. They may be doing it by love, by affection, but it is not true, that is not working psychologically. Therefore, more caution is required and educated caution is required, what I would like to say.
So, what efforts can be made to add this educational psychology in the Indian curriculum? Because I think presently the Indian educational system does not have educational psychologists.
No, educational psychology or education psychology is a branch of applied psychology. That is there in the curriculum, in the B.Ed, Bachelor of Education or Education Department, and in psychology also this is one paper is being taught. But education psychology has many areas, right from developmental, the learning, I think the measurement, examination system, evaluation system, many things are over there. School psychology, as we are talking of the adolescents, this is a paper and this is there in many universities curriculum. The Open University, Indira Gandhi Open University, they have for the, the special children, they have school psychology as a paper, a special education course, and also in psychology course, school psychology is there. Similarly, in many other universities, this is there, but it is not everywhere, as you have rightly said. And now there is a need to take care of. Therefore, such amendments or such inclusion in syllabus is necessary.
So, now moving on to youth. So, can we discuss the problems of youth?
Okay. Youth,
as well as the ways we can deal with it.
Right. Youth, I can say comparatively has lesser problems as compared to management is concerned. Adolescent and children management need much care and expertise. Youth, some set type of problems are there. Somebody is having unemployment, then how to deal with, where to go. There are simple procedures that any educated person can suggest over there. And after marriage or before marriage, what we call the marital problem. I think this is slightly the domain of psychologists purely. Okay? What happens in our Indian culture, we ask the girls or we do not allow the girls to mingle with boys freely, no parent will allow. But when marriage is fixed and marriage takes place, the second day consummation that we expect as parents, just see how it is possible, it cannot be. So, many cases as a clinical psychologist, those who come to us because of different type of either temperamental problem, the adjustment between husband and wife, because a girl is from one place, boy is from other place, arranged marriages are mostly take place, or even in love marriage, if it is based on superfluous parameters of the boy or the girl, then ultimately temperamentally they are not suiting for that purpose. So, that type of problem is there. Sexual incompatibility, that is one necessity after marriage, that is also there, and many misconceptions about sexual competency, those are prevalent in educated boys and girls we have seen, and that is why many problems are there. So, the solution is, as you have asked, a counseling is required for all the boys and girls before marriage, so that they can be made ready for taking up this challenge from different angles. When two persons are meeting, what could be the best one for having better adjustment? The best one could be that A should understand the value, the nature, the temperament, the psychology of Y or B, and B could understand A. There may be some of the aspects which may be temporary in nature and that can be changed, So, efforts could be made to change that. Okay? You want coffee in the morning, I do not want coffee, okay, leave this. And there are something which may be of severe nature. There, how to adjust, how to cope with, that we have to learn. Okay? That is why pre-marriage counseling to me is very essential to take up the challenge. And after that, after marriage, if for some reason temperamental problems or any other kind of problem is there, then again psychologist's work is required. After all, what is the job of psychologist? Psychologist's job is to keep adjustment, okay, in the situation. So, what they do, first of all, they study the situation, what is that situation, and what is the thing, what is the stimulus, those are not helping in making adjustment, then they show the way how to do it and adjustment takes place. We have the experience of discussing many people and having many people, those who were at the break of the marriage, the divorce, such cases, but they are happily just living again. They understand, and sometimes ego of the male, habit of the female, many things are over there. So, just to cut a long story short, it can be said that adjustment in youth, because youth is a period in anybody's life where one can or one is having best imagination of the world, tries to get the best capacity, and they are capable of, or they think of that they will I think achieve the goal what they want. Therefore, if these two things matching, equal matching is there, then there is no problem.
Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge. In today's session, we dealt with the problems of developmental stages, how effective parenting can be implemented, and how children, adolescent and youth should manage their problems. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir.